In this video, I want to review CSS3 Animations. As you can see in this example, you could be really creative in constructing your animations, and you could do a lot of different things with it. I'm going to head over to caniuse.com. I searched animation just to see how compatible this is throughout browsers, and you can see this is pretty much supported across all major browsers, and its usage is relatively high in terms of using it unprefixed. Just about a year or so ago, you did need to include prefixes for WebKit and Mozilla, but not anymore, and it's really well supported. Cool. So the link to this article, but essentially I'm going to review just a quick example of how to create a animation using just CSS3. This is a new pen. We're going to save this. Let's go to settings. Call this one CSS3 Animation. And very quickly we can go ahead and close the JavaScript panel. We'll be needing that. And first thing I want to do is create a container that we're going to go ahead and animate. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's do div class box, and in fact we won't have anything inside the box, and we'll just go ahead and target that, give it a width and also a height, and let's give it a background color of blue. There we go. So let's go ahead and animate this. So the way we go about doing that is we need to set up our animations, and we need to do that in our box element here. So let's go ahead and do it now. And so all we're doing here is just setting the animation properties. We're not actually starting the actual animation yet. So all we're doing is setting up the properties, and I'll show you what that means in a little bit. So first thing we need to include is the animation name. And in this case, you can call this anything you like. So box, let's just call it box. And what we need to include is a series of animation properties. So in this article here, I include an example of all the properties that you can utilize. So there's animation delay, direction, duration, iteration counts, how many times it repeats itself, and then some animation functions like ease in, ease out, etc. And then our animation name, which we just used in this example here. So let's go ahead and create some properties. Animation name, let's do animation delay, so it'll delay for 2 seconds before the animation begins. Let's do animation duration, 4 seconds. Let's do animation, oops, make sure that's spelled right. Animation, and what I want to do now is iteration count. Cool. Again, let's make sure we spell that correctly. Good. And let's do this 10 times. And let's do animation timing function. In this case, I'll just go with ease. Cool. So we have our properties laid out, but there's no animation occurring because we need to set up our keyframes. And that's the next step in bringing it all together. So let's go ahead and do that now. And the way keyframes work, and I'll show you a couple of different ways of utilizing them. So keyframes, and then the name of the animation. In this case, we called it box. This could be anything you like. Box, perfect. And in here, we're going to set our from. Let's just do something easy. Margin left, 100. Let's do 50%. And let's change maybe its width to 300 pixel. As you can see, it's already going. And 2, let's do margin left 0%, and then width 250 pixel. Okay, looks good. So now this is what we have. Let me save this. And so here's our animation. We refresh this. Okay, it's gonna wait, delay for 4 seconds, rather for 2 seconds, and then it starts. We can change that to 0. Cool. But here's the thing. So the from and to is pretty limited. So it only gives us 2 points from the beginning to the end. But we need more flexibility. So instead of from and to, we can actually use percentages. So let's go ahead and do that now. So from will be 0. So that's the starting point. Let's change this to 50%. And let's change the next. So I'm going to add one more to it. We'll do 100%. So what this is going to allow us to do is essentially create sort of a bouncing effect. Let's do that here. So there you go. Cool, and what's happening here is at the start of the keyframes, it's margin 0 on the left side and then the width of 250 pixels. Then at 50% of the animation, it switches to margin left 50% and then the width gets a little bit larger. And then back at 100%, it gets down to 250 pixels and the margin left is 0. So you get this bouncing effect.